This is Alive and Thriving, and today I am so excited to introduce you to a very dear friend of mine. Her name is Jen Bowers. Now, Jen, I'm going to give you her formal bio in a minute. Jen is a branding expert. Jen has the most inspiring story because I can tell you she's going to share. She never used to allow herself to be visible. And she's going to share why that was in our podcast today. She's going to talk about how she overcome it and the big healing journey that she has been on. Jen is also going to share with you in this episode all about brand foundations. So you are not only going to leave this episode inspired, but you are also going to leave this episode educated on creating a brand foundation so that you can go and build a clear and consistent brand for your business. It is a really amazing episode. Now, as Jen shares some of the things that were brought to her awareness that basically changed her whole world in terms of her inner world, in terms of the way that she saw herself, in terms of the way that she allowed herself to live her life, I just would love to share with you that if you have any aha moments where you realize that you might be impacted by some of these things, then please reach out to me for a discovery call. Techniques like EFT tapping, hypnotherapy, they are so powerful in helping you to let go of things like suggestive language, childhood trauma, negative thought patterns, imposter syndrome, all these things that form our identity. And if you're ready to shift out of that identity and step into one that is going to be supportive of who you want to be and the life that you want to experience and the way that you want to be feeling day to day, then let's chat, because that's the kind of one-on-one work that we can do together. Let me share Jen's formal bio. She is going to share all about who she is in a moment. So Jen is your champagne drinking, coffee addicted, flamingo adoring, color loving, crazy cat lady. Jen B. Jen has spent 35 years, and Jen is very modest when she talks about her branding. She has worked with some very well-known brands, globally well-known brands. So Jen has spent 35 years in branding with a background as a brand coach, graphic designer, illustrator, and content creator. She now helps fabulous midlife females build strong brands as a brand foundation coach. So Jen is on a mission to empower midlife women to peel back the layers, rediscover who they truly are, and become the person that they were always meant to be. All through the magic of personal branding, embodiment, and self-transformation. And then she says, boom, hello, bring back your pink podcast. I should have had her read this because it would have sounded so bloody amazing. So at the age of 52, Jen was made redundant from her comfort zone of a corporate branding job. She'd been living in a grey world. She'd been trying her best to be invisible. She was fitting herself into a box that society labeled as should. She burst out of that box, and now she wants to show you that it's never too late to be who you were always meant to be and to start a new adventure. When Jen is not transforming brands or chatting away to flamazing ladies on her podcast, you'll find her enjoying a glass of her favorite champagne, socializing in Sydney, or snuggled up with one of her 10 cats. Remember, life is short and aging is a privilege. Oh, if that bio doesn't intrigue you for this conversation, then I don't know what will. Let's bring on Jen.
You're listening to Alive and Thriving with Jessica Reed, the podcast that's all about empowering you to achieve optimal wellness and success through self-care, holistic practices, and raw conversations. Jessica and her expert guests are here to share powerful insights and strategies to help you overcome stress and anxiety, take charge of your life, and thrive in life and in business. Grab a cuppa and let's dive in.
Already introduced your formal bio
Oh, cool.
before we start. So I do that at the beginning and then I do my intro. So we basically will just start this by saying, welcome to Alive and Thriving, my beautiful friend Jen. I'm so excited to have you here. I have given your formal bio to our audience, but I would love to introduce you as my friend, as my mastermind peer, as somebody whose story, as listeners are going to hear today, is just so inspiring and impactful. And I guarantee anybody listening is going to walk away from today just feeling like they are so ready to go and embrace their authentic self after hearing your story, Jen. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, Jess. I'm so thrilled to be here. And yes, you've walked along my journey. You've walked alongside me. You've helped me out. And I'm so appreciative of that. And I'm so glad that I can be here to help, any of your listeners embrace who they were meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned before, I've shared your formal bio at the beginning, so listeners have heard the spiel.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, though, a little bit on a deeper level, more about who you are and how you actually got to be in the industry that you are now? Let's start there. Tell us a bit about your journey to where you are at the moment.
Oh my gosh. So the journey has a number of kind of aspects, and especially because I have the two things. So the branding business and the podcast, which is Bring Back Your Pink. I'll start with branding. I knew from the beginning, from like when I was 10 years old, that I wanted to be a graphic designer. And I've never ever deviated from that. It's always been there in the back of my mind, even when I wasn't actually physically working, when I had my child. It's something that I love, and I love designing, and I do it just for fun now so much because I don't do so much actual design work. I'm far more, interested in building those strong foundations as
Yes. And we're going to talk about brand foundations too, by the way. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I want our listeners to know from the very beginning, if they are caught up in the idea that a brand is just colors and logos, then they are also going to have their whole world rocked today. Okay.
Absolutely.
So sorry to interrupt, but I just felt like that is a good reason to stay.
No, not at all. And I'm, you know what? I love conversational podcasts. Like this is like a conversation. It is a conversation with a friend, and that's what we like them to be. But yeah, so designing, and then my ex-husband decided there was a younger, better model out there. And I wasn't really working at the time. I was just helping a friend with a bit of marketing, etc. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? What is going to be the direction I take? Do I sell the house? Do I try and do something? Do I sell the house and buy something else? Do I try and do something else? What do I do? And I thought, you know what? You've got to go back to what you're good at and what you've done for 15 odd years. Because as soon as I left school, I went to design school and then I was straight into the industry. So I decided that I was going to build up a business because, hey, I build brands. So I built up a brand and started working back in design in agencies, etc. And then I had a conversation with my ex-husband and about the house and what were we going to do. And he says, obviously, we're going to sell it. And I said, no, I think I might try and buy you out. And he just laughed at me and said, you'll never be able to do that. And I'm like, you just watch me. So that gave me the determination to really move forward and build this brand. And 12 months later, I did buy him out of our home with the biggest mortgage that my mortgage broker had ever got for a single woman, which was very exciting, very empowering and liberating, and really set me on my path to help women build a strong brand that will allow them to become, you'll hear me talk about flamingos, a flamingo and a flock of seagulls, when life is not the fairy tale that we always wanted it to be. So that was the beginning of my obsession. And moving forward through the years, I met my current husband, who's been the most amazing support to me in everything I do. He lifts me up. He backs me 100%. We are a team. But we'll fast forward now to 2020 when I was made redundant at the age of 52 from my safe corporate job. I was working as a corporate brand designer. And it was like, what am I going to do now? At 52, this is going to be difficult. But fortunately, I was working with business coaches. I had a side hustle. And they're like, this is your time. This is your destiny. This is where you need to be. You need to go and work. You need to give your talents to the world.
Yeah.
But that's when I really dived in to the brand foundations. I'd always worked with it. I'd always had a side hustle as well, doing design and branding. But this is when I dived in. This is when I discovered the game changer for me in my branding. And I went to work for myself. And I built up a really beautiful business, beautiful clients, sold out courses, and it was amazing. It was life-changing. I now look back at that redundancy and realize that it was actually a celebration of me moving into who I was meant to be and not being stuck in a box and trying to be somebody I was not. Because being in corporate, and whilst it was a safe job and whilst the people were lovely, I was trying to fit in and be someone I just was not. Yeah. So this was very liberating to come out and do my own thing. And I'm back. I did take most of 2022 off for a bit of a self-discovery journey. Yeah. But I am back now with my course, with my branding, doing the one-on-ones. And I'm so grateful that this is now my life and that I get to do this, that I get to wake up and help ladies fly and be a flamingo.
Oh, I love that. For anybody who looks at your socials now, who hears you speak now, they would be seeing a very beautiful, cohesive brand. They would be seeing you as an embodiment of that brand, but they would also be seeing this level of confidence, even just in hearing the way that you share your story so confidently and so authentically. But I know that for you, that level of visibility, that hasn't always been there, has it? Could you take us on that journey of what that used to be like for you? Because this gives me goosebumps, this story.
So the journey, we'll go back to 2021 and I will talk briefly about brand personality and about brand personality because we've worked together to discover yours. And discovering for me that I was the creator magician gave me permission to step into my true self, to not try and be who I, again, thought I should be. So at the beginning of 2021, I did discover that. And it just gave me permission to be colorful and just live a life of color. However, I discovered in March last year, because at the end of 2021, I'm like, something's just not sitting right with me. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. I should be happy, but I'm not. And then in March last year, I was on a call and I found out about suggestive language. Now, I'm not talking about suggestive language when we go, hey, let's go to bed. Suggestive language.
Get your minds out of the gutter, ladies.
That's it, ladies. Get your minds out of the gutter. Because it's funny how when I often talk about it, people go, whoa, what is it? And when I actually threw it in ChatGPT, it came up with something completely different.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Oh,
so I'm like, right.
ChatGPT.
I was going to say, I just want to elaborate that the suggestive language that I'm talking about is things that are suggested to us. And if we're told these things enough, we begin to truly believe them. So when I found out about suggestive language, my mind literally exploded. It wasn't just a light bulb going on. It was like a literal explosion almost of my whole body, because I realized that I had been subject to suggestive language my whole life. Now, literally from when I was born. Now, I have to just jump in and say my mum was a big part of that, but there's no resentment or angst or anything with my mum. There was never any malice in what she was doing. She was just trying to do the best thing by me. My mum was my biggest supporter. She was my biggest cheerleader. She was always there. But intergenerational trauma and intergenerational beliefs for my mum, as I was born in 1968. So at that time, you weren't loud. You weren't flamboyant. Also, my darling mum, she was a teeny tiny ballet dancer. She was 47 kilos before she got pregnant. She had a 4 kilo baby. So, yeah, I was like big from the day I came out. I was the little mother with the big baby. So, through my whole life, it was big. Jen, maybe you shouldn't wear that. You're a bit too big for that. Jen, you look so beautiful in black. It's so flattering on you. Jen, you're very loud. Lower your voice. Ladies don't speak so loudly. Jen, you're so flamboyant. I don't know where that's come from. Ladies aren't flamboyant. I still kept going though. Through my teens and what have you, I was still pretty out there. Like I was a teen in the 80s. I had a mohawk. I was whatever, mum. Like I did not listen, as teenagers don't. But a lot of that started coming back to me in my 20s. And then I got married, and the ex-husband took the art of ripping you down to a whole different level. So nobody really likes you. They just talk to you because you're there and they have to be polite. You used to be so pretty before you got so fat and ugly. You're not a good mother. If you didn't spend so much money on champagne cats and getting your nails done, we'd be so much better off. I'm like, so you can imagine this was ongoing.
And building on the core beliefs that even though they may have impacted you, but maybe not to that extent yet, those core beliefs were sitting in your subconscious mind, ready for more emotional associations to build and build. And so what he's done is he's fueled that for you.
100%.
Yeah.
And he had the ability to twist everything. So it was always my fault. So I came out of that marriage feeling that I was a failure. I was very broken. It was not a good time. And my mum was always there to support me. And this is what I say, my mum was my biggest supporter. And I obviously went on to buy him out. That gave me some courage. But the fact of the matter is, I still wanted to be invisible. I was hiding because I thought I was too big to be in the public eye. I was too much I was not good enough to be in the public eye. Now, when I heard about suggestive language, I realized why I'd been hiding.
Yeah.
Why I wanted to be invisible, why I was faded, because I thought I wasn't good enough. I was too big. Nobody particularly liked me. I was too loud. I was too everything. Now, my husband we've been together 16 years this year. He was always encouraging me and supporting me. But the fact is, if you don't believe what they say, it's completely irrelevant. You need to understand it and believe it before you can change. And this suggestive language made me realize what had happened to me over those years. Then I went to Palm Springs and I was with one of my business coaches, and I realized that we were talking about personal brands. And I've been encouraged to be a personal brand for a long time, but I just could not do it. I was like, I don't like my name. It is your name, but I don't like it. It doesn't spark joy. That was my reason every time. And then Gen B was suggested to me. So I was percolating on that because I'm like, I like that. Then I went to Palm Springs and Tina said to me, why can't you come out and go? I hope I don't cry, but I might. But I'm like, I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want to be visible. I'm too scared to come out from behind my brand because I don't want to be seen. I don't want people to laugh at me and be critical of me. I'm too scared to come out. And that was like the breaking point. That was like, okay. And the girls that were there were also beautiful. And we actually decided for me to become Gen BE. Oh gosh. So I can help women be
how
we're meant to be in the first place without having to hide. Sorry, people that are listening.
No.
I don't normally cry on podcasts.
Oh my goodness. This is just so beautiful and so authentic. And what massive internal work you needed to do. And I had the honor of witnessing so much of this transformation and growth last year. watching you unbecome all those things that you
Yes.
had always believed were your identity
Yes.
and that you had taken in and acted from and made decisions from in your life and your business because every cell in your body believed them to be true. And that moment for you where you decided to that this is not aligned, this is not who you want to be.
Hmm?
You put in the work. You put in the work. Nobody, as you said, you're not going to believe something just because someone else tells you.
Oh,
Nobody could have done that work for you, and you did that. And that is something to be so proud of, because I can tell you right now, in my industry, working with the types of people that I work with, like yourself, I work with things like what you've been through. So many people are so scared to dig that up because of the discomfort, so scared to break away from the identity that they've always been attached to, the point where they accept it as this is just who I am and keep going like that. And you've said, no, this is who I've been, but I'm not living my full life. I'm not living my full color. You can explain about flamingos and color in a minute,
I will.
but you're not, you decided and you realized that and you made a choice. And like I said, no one could have done that work for you. And look where you are now. Not
It's
only allowing yourself to be visible, it's so much more than that. It's so much more than your branding business being successful. It's so much more than you being visible on social media or out when you're doing public speaking. It's so much more than that, because this is how you are making your big impact on the world.
and it's interesting. You don't realize I love color. I've always loved color. You don't realize the impact you have on people until they come up and talk to you. So it was just interesting. On Sunday, I was in the city in Sydney. It was open in Sydney, and we were going. I was with a friend and a little friend, Elliot, and we were going around different places. And this lady stopped me and she said, "Oh my gosh, you just look so beautiful in all the colors." She said, "Can I take a photo of you, please?" I'm like, "Sure." I just went, strike a pose. Now, I'll tell you what, 2 years ago, I would have been, "No way. Why do you want a photo?" I struck a pose and she's like, "I'm an artist and I want to paint you." I'm like, "Cool. Who are you on Instagram? I look forward to seeing my painting." Now, I guess that's the difference between now and 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And people love to see colorful, happy people too. And so now I really embrace it and just, yeah, it brings me so much joy
Mm.
knowing that I can one help people and maybe help people out of this funk, because you know what, we do fade, and I will talk about the flamingos, but we fade, and sometimes we just need something like a mind explosion like I had to bring us out,
Yeah.
become back to who we're meant to be,
Do you
because
know
life
the
can
other,
get us.
oh, sorry, the other thing I was just going to say that it had lost my mind when I was talking about the impact, but more so than all of those things. And I think even for me, what's the real like cherries, what's the real strawberry on the champagne glass
That's it.
is that, and I've heard you say this so many times now in the last few months, you feel like you are actually living how and who you are meant to be, and you're happy. And
Yes,
isn't that the cherry on top? That's, I don't know any more metaphors, the icing of the cake. Jen loves champagne, so the strawberry on the glass, that's it. That,
absolutely.
yeah,
And
that's the Dom
we
Perignon of personal growth, right?
100%. But we have to give ourselves permission to be happy as well.
Yeah.
I'll hark back to March in 2021 when I did a guided meditation and a drumming journey at the ICM retreat.
Mm.
And my meditation was very visual. I was in a green field. I was surrounded with, I just lost one of my cats. I'd lost my mum just 12 months earlier. My dad's been gone for many years, but my people, my mum, my dad, the cats are all there supporting me and showering me in love and saying, get on, whatever you do is going to be okay. The next day we had the drumming journey, and I came out of that with permission to be happy. Now, I had never thought I was going to be one of those people that had a happy life, because my life has not been particularly happy. I have an adopted sister who made our lives quite miserable. Growing up, my dad passed when I was 23, a bad marriage. I'm just not destined to have happiness. But what I realized coming out of that is you've got to give yourself permission to be happy. You can live in the sadness if you want to, but it's actually a choice. In 2021, that's the beginning. I always say this is the beginning of this whole journey, was saying, guess what? You can have a happy life. You have permission to do. And it was a beautiful moment coming out of that and going, yes, I can do this. And it was a massive shift to, rather than look at the negative side, I would always look at the positive.
Yes. And is this journey, this is where Bring Back Your Pink really comes from, doesn't it?
It does. So, I
should say.
Yeah, no,
ask you.
being made redundant at 52, going on this journey, realizing that actually, you know what? You're not too old. It's not too late to live your best life. You can be happy. The whole thing with Bring Back Your Pink, girls, did you know that flamingos, when they are actively parenting, when they are stressed, when they're not eating properly, when they're burnt out, they lose their pink and they fade. And a lot of us come off the tail end of the parenting journey having lost ourselves along the way. And I'm not just referring, and this can be when the kids are 15. We have done so much for them. We've lost ourselves. They start to live their lives. We're like, hang on, what are we going to do? I'm getting older.
Who am I?
Yeah, who even am I?
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm going to use my daughter's name. I'm just Chelsea's mum. Actually, no, you're not. You are still your own person. And you are now walking into the best time of your life, when actually it's all about you and what you want and how you
intriguing. I'm so early in the depths of like little people.
Yeah.
Say more. I'm so
interesting. It's really interesting. And you've got to have that mindset, like that this is the second half of your life. The first half has been growing up, bringing little people up. And now it's time for you. You're not too old. You're not too late. Wear the color, drink the champagne, have great sex. None of this goes away. It only gets better, because it is a selfish time in some ways, because we do think about ourselves. Obviously, my daughter is number one priority. She is foremost in my life, and I adore her, and I'm so proud of her. And I won't say I'm an empty nester, because she like literally lives downstairs. But we don't see each other for a few days at a time. They live their own life. My hubby and I live our own life. It is just nice to go, yeah, we want to go away. Yeah, we want to go for dinner, or just to hang together, to realize that you can spread your wings and start new hobbies, or perhaps go back to hobbies that you've put behind you because you didn't have time. Now it's your time.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It's pretty exciting.
Oh, it is. It is. I just love everything that you share, Jen, and your story. And I know that, as I said at the very beginning, so many women listening to this, I feel like, are going to look at the permission that they're giving themselves. Maybe even start being open to, I wonder what kind of suggestive language, and again, not in a malice, even intentional way. I know some people do unfortunately experience those situations. But for so many other people, we grow up thinking, but my childhood wasn't traumatic. My parents weren't abusive. And so how we're sometimes even reluctant, or I see a lot in clients even reluctant to go and investigate what kind of things could have been said or could have happened in early childhood, because they love their parents. They don't want to blame them. No. And that's not what we're doing. That's not what this is. And so even if you just start to, you the listener, start to even get curious about, could I have been exposed to some suggestive language? Was I told continually, did I continually hear that, gosh, your voice is just too loud? Or like your suggestive language, Jen, the big baby with or you're just so all the time. And could that have formed core beliefs for me
Yeah. And
that
even
now shape my perception of how I view the world and the decisions that I make? And are they serving you
yeah,
now?
the way it was described to me was fascinating. Not to me, but to the group of women. It was like, remember when your parents would introduce you to someone. This is Jess, she's the noisy one. This is Jen, she's the shy
The
one.
shy one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and these are the things. You may not be shy and you may not be noisy, but these are things you grow up believing, and
Yeah.
these
Or the
can,
naughty one.
yeah, the naughty one.
Yeah.
And it affects you negatively
Yeah.
because you grew up believing that you are that.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I hope actually that anybody listening goes and finds Jen on Instagram. I'm going to link her Instagram in the comments. But if any of this resonates and you're like having this aha moment where you're like, wow, I've had this suggestive language, please share it with Jen because
Yes,
she
please.
understands. And then come and share it with me and we can work together. and
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can help you through it. But go to
Share
Jen
it with me
first.
because I love a chat. It has become, I guess, my mission now to help people and bring back your pink. There's nothing monetary with that for me. It's my podcast, it's my Instagram feed where it's my speaking page where I encourage people to live their best lives.
Yeah.
Please jump in my DMs and come tell me, because I love it and I love to help others just bloom. And I guess when I think about it, and a lot of my branding clients, I've realized that are coming to me are now very much in midlife, which is fantastic. And to be able to help them move on. So my branding course is it's not just about branding. It's actually weaving all the mindset in and how to strengthen that and how to be who you were meant to be, as well as building the brand. Because if you're not living your true authentic life as who you're meant to be, it's very hard to build a brand as well.
Yes.
Especially
Absolutely.
if you are
Especially if you
front,
are the brand.
you're the brand.
Yeah. So what a great segue circle back to branding, because that's where I was going to go next anyway.
Well, there you go. Great minds.
Be so connected. I would love for you to explain to our listeners the difference. And I say this with so much love. And I did the same thing. Let me just preface this. I started my business and I thought, first thing I need is a logo and a website. And so I made a Canva DIY logo and didn't love it, but that's just what I did. And then probably 12 months in, I thought I was ready for the next more professional step. And so I worked with an amazing branding consultant who created me a visual brand. And so I'm still in love with my logos and my color palette, and it's targeted to the women that I want to work with and all the things. But then one day I was in a share call in our mastermind and Jen was asked to present, and she came on to talk about brand foundations. And I just was mind blown. And actually straight away I sent her a message and I was like, I'm your next private client and can we do this for my business? And we did. And it's been game changing. And I'll share why after Jen explains the difference, because this is something I think when we think branding, we literally just go straight to, I need a logo and I need my fonts and I need my colors. And yes, that cohesive showing up is really important. But if you're going to invest in something, or with time or with money, because there's obviously two ways to invest, but if you're going to invest in something before that, before you set your logo, before you do all of that, what I have learned since then is that you want to be starting with your brand foundations. Jen, can you explain the difference between the visual branding and the brand foundations, and why the brand foundations are exactly that, the foundations, and I'm not going to say should, sorry, that's not the right way, but I guess in my opinion, from what I've experienced doing it backwards, and I think in your opinion too, as a professional brand foundations coach, that it really
Needs to be.
Should be the best thing to, I couldn't think of another word.
Something. Yeah.
It's important.
Something you consider when you're starting a business. Now, I have a really simple analogy for this. And I found that it works perfectly because brand foundations are very intangible. So not everyone understands exactly what they can do. But what I want you to think about is building a house. So we get to do the fun stuff, the kitchens, the bathroom, the colors. That's the thing we all gravitate to first because it's fun. But if we build that house and put all this beautiful stuff in it and we build it on sand, what's going to happen? It's going to wobble. It's going to crack. Eventually, bits are going to fall off and you're going to have to move out. So a brand is exactly the same. You need to build your brand on strong foundations. So you look at your brand foundations like the foundations of a house, and your visual branding is the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you really can't have one without the other.
Yeah. So what are foundations?
So the foundations are discovering who you are, your brand personality, so important. When you discovered that you were the magician, like it was like it gives you permission to step in to your being who you're meant to be, because the personality is so important. And then with the personality comes the voice and the tone. So it's how you speak, the tone of voice that you, some people can have a formal tone. Some people can have casual, they can have informal. Like mine is casual, inspiring, and passionate because I'm very passionate about what I do. I try to inspire my ladies to be the best they can be. So that is my tone. And I'm very casual. You will not hear me speak in a formal tone at all. I use slang. I'm occasionally quite sweary. But that brings the whole personality together. Then we go into why do you do what you do? And if you first go, just to make money, really, you need to perhaps think about something else, because you know what, we all need to have a why as to why we get up. My why goes back to realizing that we as women can do whatever we want. And sometimes as women, we need to be able to support ourselves. So that became literally almost my mission to do that. And that is my why. That is why I get out of bed every day, because I know I get to work with wonderful ladies and help them make a difference in their lives. And then we go into our values, our mission, our purpose, our vision. A lot of it comes out of the why. Then we tell stories. What's your story? People love to know stories. Human beings, we're creatures of connection. We love to connect. And telling a story can actually help your people connect with you. It makes you relatable, makes you trustworthy. And that is so important, especially today when there is so much noise out there, so much noise on the online space. And then we want to talk about who the heck you're speaking to.
Yes.
Who is your ideal audience? Who are your besties, I like to call them. So for me, as Jess knows, I have a personal IP that I do. I create avatars, but I make them into a person. So they become your ideal client. So when you're talking, anything you do, emails, website, DMs, social captions, you target it to that person. And when you weave this all together consistently, that is what creates a strong brand. I often say, I said it to my ladies the other day, when we're talking about personalities and foundations and really just diving into it. I said, how many of you actually know what my logo looks like? And they're like, I bet it's got a flamingo. And I'm like, yes. You really know what it looks like.
I can picture it.
Yeah, but they're like, no, we actually don't.
Yeah.
I said, so you're all about, you found me, however, you love my vibe, you love how consistent I am with what I put out there. You don't even know what my what my logo looks like, my colors. And, I like going on to the next visual, being consistent with all your colors and everything is super important. But for me, they are drawn by my energy.
Yeah.
So because I am an energetic brand.
Yeah.
I'm a creative magician. I'm full of energy.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And that is what creates a standout brand.
Yeah.
Is building those foundations. Because as I said, if you think about it, probably nobody knows what our logos look like.
Yes.
Know our colors.
So let me tell you then, from my perspective, introducing this deep foundational work, it was January, I think, this year. And
it was.
February, I was having my website redone, professionally written by a copywriter. And so what happened for me was I chose to work with Jen one-on-one, but I will just say that Jen also has an amazing course, a amazing course that you can actually do this alongside her. So you can self-construct
Yes.
with Jen's guidance, or potentially you want to, I don't know, I'll let you talk about how you work with people, but I worked one-on-one with Jen. And so what happened then was I, first of all, stopped questioning what I was going to say or who I was talking to or reinventing my ideal client every single time I got on to social media, when I sent emails. And so for me, just having that clarity and that consistency, creating offers, circling back to this ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
What does she need? What am I creating? What version of her is this offer going to serve? So for me, just having that clarity, but this is just personally, saved me so much time. As a manifesting generator, I always want to recreate the wheel. And so someone would say to me, "Who do you serve?" And I would literally feel like I had, even though I knew in my body who it was, I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I had to make it up again every single time. I felt
Yep.
like I had to make up my tagline again every single time. And
Yep.
the thing is, I now have this beautiful 30 odd page document that has this there for me to reflect back to, for me to come back to my values, to my
Mhm.
language. But then here's how it filtered out into my world. You can take this video for a testimonial too if you want.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So here's how it filtered out into my world. What then happened was I was able to say to this copywriter, "Here's my brand voice." And therefore, what she is creating was, and she was like, "Thank you. This is so detailed," and gave her such a platform to stand on, because she also then knew who I was talking to and how I served and what type of tone she should use and what my core messaging is and understand my story and my why and all of those things. And she created my website with that in a way that's cohesive to what I'm putting out on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I then get, not then, I also gave it to my VA who creates a lot of my social media. She does a lot for me. Sometimes she'll write emails, sometimes she'll create graphics for social media. I just really dislike working in Canva. It takes me far too long. And she's amazing. She's bloody amazing at it. But everything that she now puts out on behalf of me sounds like me, because she has that exact same brand guide. And that is exactly the same then for anybody else that I have worked with since
Mm.
then in any other area of my business. I gave it to my SEO person. I've given it to my ads manager.
Mm-hmm.
I've given it to everybody that I've worked with. And what that has resulted in is clear, concise branding, not just visual branding. I know I still haven't implemented your beautiful Instagram grid that you gave me. but what is happening though is my messaging is landing. I understand
You're
my
right.
ideal client,
Yes.
and I don't have to go and reinvent that wheel or re-explain it to anybody either every time. I have this really clear instruction booklet on this is how, and I also take out that and I put it into AI as well. And for context, this is what I sound like. This is who my ideal client is. This is my values. And now use this context to create all of the following things that I'm going to ask you to create. And
Mm.
so that has then led to, I'm very sure, correlated to my business revenue doubling each quarter since January, to me having the most beautiful and aligned clients in my world, because I'm speaking to the right people who I really want to be
Yep.
working with,
Yep.
who value me, and I obviously love and adore them. But this has led to this has contributed to consistent client bookings, the right clients. Even just then leading along that pathway, contributing to the mastermind that I've just
Yep.
closed card on. So you can see how having those foundations is just so important. And even though before we chatted, I had this idea, oh yeah, I think I know who my ideal client is,
Yeah.
or like I said, I still was compelled or felt compelled to reinvent it
Yeah.
every single time. And
Because
so I don't do that anymore.
we overthink everything. And especially as you say,
Yeah.
manifesting generators, I'm a manifesting generator as well. Like we're always looking for the bright, shiny things. And,
Yes.
oh, I could help that person. I could help this person. I could help this person. It just, and, use that word clarity.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I say. I create clarity from confusion.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to get in our heads and overthink everything, and second guess ourselves. And when we're unsure, and in my process, I literally talk to you for 3 hours and then I put it together. So there's no second guessing from you, because
Jen
I
gets in your head.
gold.
She get literally, you just speak for, like she said, for 3 hours. And so even if I couldn't articulate something, she got it. She got it because she was able to actually use her amazing brand building skills to hear what I was trying to say and put that into a document for me. And so I love that, because I'm somebody who always feels like I'm very clear internally on what I want, who I help, what I do, but I always seem to struggle to articulate it. Verbally, I'm okay, but when it comes to actually writing it down, to really selling it packaging it up in a way that I can deliver it to people, I struggled. And so Jen got in my head and created that for me.
Building a brand, and people think it is easy. It's just like, get the logo, build a website, you're done. It's just so much more than that. It's so much deeper. It's in ways, what you do is like getting inside heads, just for different reasons.
Yes. Not that I might. No, there's no mind control or anything like that. Let's just bust that hypnotherapy myth right now.
Oh no, you know what a fan I am of hypnotherapy.
But it's hearing between the lines, isn't it? It's hearing. You are trained, just as I am trained. When someone comes to me with a surface level problem, their anxiety, what they perceive to be wrong for them right now, I'm trained to read between the lines to find the root cause and the block. You are trained and very well experienced in reading between the lines of what somebody is trying to achieve and creating something that is very cohesive and very easy to understand. And then, as I said, very shareable.
It's our magician personalities. It's the magician in like you and me, that we're both really intuitive of what people need and how we can help them and how we can make it clear and how we can set them on the right path. We just see these things because we're magicians.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Goodness. Wow.
I know.
So who's going to go and get a brand Bible done now?
Come see me.
Is there anything that you want to add to that?
No, but for me, it is the most important thing. And obviously, I'm going to say this because it's what I do. But it is, if you're starting up, invest in at least getting someone to help you with these foundations. If finances don't allow it, at least try and do some of the work yourself. It's going to make such a massive difference to everything you do. And it's going to change the direction of your brand. It changed mine. It's changed Jazz. I know some of my beautiful clients in the course. It's literally changed their direction and changed, like you. They now have businesses that are booked out. They've got waiting lists. They're entering they've got enough confidence in themselves to enter their art in competitions. They're building brands from scratch that they have been working, but they've just been like, they've had no idea what they're doing. Now they're putting together cohesive courses and packages, and they're confident to price themselves how they should. It just makes such a difference. Yes, as I said, obviously I'm going to say that because this is what I live and what I love. However,
but I agree. And you don't know what you don't know.
That's it, exactly. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know tech. If anything's going to go wrong tech-wise, it's going to happen to me. Every single time I try to do
talking about that before.
Yep. Every single time I do something techie, it tends to blow up in my face. but I can build a
That's
brand.
also why you're very good at outsourcing, correct?
100%. 100%. And I do, even when I'm teaching, there's generally something that goes wrong. I'm like, I know how to build brands, isn't it, ladies? And they're like, yeah.
Oh, that's okay. That's not that we don't have to have that as a zone of genius. Otherwise, we wouldn't
Exactly
be
right.
able to create the transformation and the magic in what we do create if we had our zone of genius in the technology, right?
100%. And that I don't want that zone of genius. That could be somebody else's. Quite happy to not own that.
Oh, me too. Me too. But all the power to you if that is your zone of genius. And I want to hear from you too, because I will need a VA additionally in that space soon. So
there you go. We all need our tech people.
we do. Oh, Jen, this conversation, it has moved me. It has been so vulnerable and so educational as well at the same time. Tell our listeners where we can find you. How can they get in touch?
I mainly hang out on Instagram. It's my favorite platform. And you can find me at Jen BE Brands. So Jen B Brands. And you can also find me at Bring Back Your Pink. So it's Bring Back Your _pink. I would love to chat to any of you. I love a good chat, as Jess knows. I'm always happy for people to slide into my DMs and open a conversation because I love it and I love helping.
That sounds a little suggestive.
I know.
In the term, in the way that ChatGPT.
Yeah, yes.
Slide into my DM.
Come and have a chat with me. Not a suggestive one. But I do love to help. And if I can help in any way, move you in the right direction, I'd love to do.
Oh, yes. So go and get in touch with Jen and look into your brand foundations. If somebody is interested in moving forward with brand foundation work, I know you said they can go, if money's a thing right now, then they can at least go and take the steps that you shared before and see what they can create on their own. So they've got some sort of foundation to start with.
Yeah.
But if they're ready for the next step, how can they go into the next step with you?
I run my Flamazing Brand Kickstarter course twice a year, and I do make that very cost effective. I have a 12-month plan, $99 a month. Yep. Like I want to make it as easily accessible to as many people as possible. So that'll run again early next year. I'm right in the throes of it at the moment. And then you can also work with me one-on-one. I love nothing better than building a brand. But also, even if you just want to pick my brains for an hour, I do hour calls. So yeah,
I love that. I didn't know that.
A flamingo call, just to help you grow and give you some direction in where you need to go. And it's a lot of fun. If anything, I'm not boring. And I give you action steps to take. I have taken an overview of what you're doing, give you action steps for you to go and take, and send you a PDF afterwards. So people can just have this PDF to kind of, okay, yeah, right. Okay, so I need to do that and I need to do that. Like we can zone in on one thing or we can take an overview. It's actually you drive that call.
Wow. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jen, for your time and everything you've shared and everything you've taught today as well. I don't take what you shared lightly. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Oh, bless. But thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be on here with you.
Thank you. And let me tell you that you being visible is a gift to the world. Gift.
Thank you. It's nice to be so comfortable with it now. After so many years of hiding, it's nice to be confident and to accept compliments and to know when someone wants to stop you and take a photo, they're not actually laughing at you behind your back. They genuinely want to do that, and to have the confidence to accept it and to embrace who I am now. I never thought I'd be in this place, and I have to say I'm so darn happy that I am.
Oh, I love that. Oh, Jen, thank you.
No, thank you.
Wow, what a journey it's been today. We are so grateful for each and every one of you who tuned in to Alive and Thriving. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep growing, please consider subscribing and leaving a review on your favourite platform. It's a simple but powerful way to support a small business like ours to continue to make an impact.